We've already brought you the Golf 8 wagon, but now the beautiful, magnificent and quite fast Golf R Wagon. When the Golf Mark 8 came out, it didn't seem to me to be a massive jump from the 7.5, certainly from the point of looks. It looks like they took the piece of clay and gave it a bit of a smoothing over. So everything looks just a little bit more grown up, a little bit more adult. And the Volkswagen Golf R has followed suit. There's little touches of blue everywhere. This is the hero colour. The range isn't actually massive, and for some reason most people prefer this beautiful metallic blue. The Estoril alloys, 19-inch, with the blue Golf R calipers and these massive discs. There's R badges all over the place, but surprisingly very few Golf badges. The front, instead of having the GTI's red stripes, this has got blue, and there's little touches of blue inside as well. There's a light bar here that you can only see when the lights come on at night. These, of course, are the clever LED matrix lights, the ones that bend light around oncoming cars and traffic to make sure that no one is blinded. But what do you get in the wagon that you don't get in the hatch? Well, for a start, this is 451 millimeters longer than the hatch, so about that much longer. And with that comes vast amounts of storage space. We'll get to that in a minute. You also get this huge, as you do with all wagons, rear window. But have a look at the door. It goes from here all the way over to there. I mean, that's absolutely enormous. And of course, it gives range to a really wide opening space to get into the back. We'll deal with that in a tick. Around the back, the story of subtle sex appeal continues. Massive quad exhausts. There's an R badge, but unlike the hatchbacks, the VW symbol isn't used to open it. No, there's a rubber button underneath to allow the electric tailgate to open. And even on this uneven ground, it opens up with enough room for head height. Inside is a 2-section luggage cover and a smart pop-up divider that hooks into the roof. That's all part of the same mechanism. Under the floor, have a look at this. Enough room for a spare wheel, probably a full-size one, but instead it's just got the subwoofer. I think I'd rather have a spare wheel. Never mind. I think these lights are incredibly sexy. Now inside, like I said, a nice wide opening. Now I'm stepping in here into a fairly compact space because the seats slide back when you switch the ignition off. But have a look at this. Beautiful blue. I just think that blue leather look is absolutely gorgeous. And the seats themselves are sculptured. But there is 41 millimeters worth extra here in the back seat. When you start the car, this will slide forward. It'll be about where the front one is, which is a considerable distance forward. There's another section of air conditioning here for the back, and under that a couple of USB-C outlets. Now I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the interior of the car. What I love is the cockpit. As you can see, with the ignition off, all of the buttons are blank. They come alight once you turn the car on. There's a Qi charger with a flap, a space to put your mobile phone as well if it's not in the charger, and the simple gear lever, which is just a toggle backwards and forwards. Again, all of these things light up when you press the starter button. And you can see now the buttons have lit up. The variable view dash has come to life, and my wireless Apple CarPlay has already connected. Now I've got to tell you that the wireless Apple CarPlay works considerably better than the voice control for the system itself. It always seems to start off in sports mode. That's one of the other love-hate things I have with this car, and that is the infotainment system. They've reduced it to the point of oversimplification. There's only a few buttons here. a slider and a couple of temperature controls for the air conditioning, none of which are backlit so you can't see them at night. You have to go into the climate menu to actually do anything, and the same with the mode menu. Further to that, there's an R button up here on the dash, which brings up, you'll notice, further options in your drive menu, in your drive mode menu, I should say. The all-wheel drive system has gotten tweaks from the old model. Oh, this is such a joy. But it seems so demure and quiet compared to the old one that burped and farted and made noises. This is a thug in a dinner suit. Now you can see I put it in R mode, that the dash has come up with a different appearance. But it also makes the trick diff and gearbox act differently as well. Even within the speed limit on this very twisty road, this R Wagon is fun, and you'll notice there's not a hint of screech from the tyres, even though we're giving it a decent push through the corners. Within the speed limit, obviously. Can't afford to lose any more points. I'm going to put it back into comfort mode now, and that makes the smart suspension nice and soft, or rather, for this car, relatively soft. The steering, though, is absolutely beautiful. Now I'm in comfort mode on this twisty road, and I'm not noticing a huge amount of difference. And I think that's the beauty of a Golf R, is that it's set up for sporty handling even in comfort mode. And I suspect that's what a lot of people will do. I'm just going to put it in sport mode. There's a pleasing little burp between gear changes for the 7-speed DSG, but it's 4.9 seconds to 100. Nonetheless, it's incredibly comfortable on the road. The seats are heated and cooled, and there's smart settings in the climate control. Any of those 4 buttons. The other one is for the smart parking. It's only semi-autonomous, so not like the BMW that we saw last week, which would park itself, which was a little bit unnerving. I can hear just a little hint of wind noise around the front, just a hint, but it's just to let you know that you're alive. Once you're on the move, let's go into cruise mode. So I put it into comfort, and I'm going to press the travel assist button. Once you activate the system, it will stay a set distance from the car in front, but it also uses the GPS to slow down on certain corners. So you can activate your seat heating or cooling and steering wheel heating or cooling, and just sit back and relax. The fuel consumption, I've been down as low as it resets itself. I've got it set to reset itself after restart. Got down to 6.6 yesterday afternoon on this very road, which I think is actually pretty good considering this is a track-worthy car. The view I've got at the dash at the moment is with the speed in the middle, but you can change it to have other views if you wish. And the clever thing is that if the navigation is set, including the Apple navigation, it shows up in your navigation on the windscreen. So I've got a heads-up display, and also here and in the driver's dials in front of me. Pretty clever. Let's give that a try. Hey Siri, take me home.
Getting directions to home.
And there we go, home is set. That was pretty easy. I've now got in front of me, the heads-up display has expanded a little, and I can see the directions. There's an arrow in 17 kilometers. I have to make a left-hand veer. I think that's pretty good. It doesn't work with Google Maps, unfortunately, which is my preferred maps. But you know, hey ho. I love this carbon fiber look trim. There is a bit of a whistle somewhere that's coming through one of the vents, which is slightly annoying. But apart from that, this Golf R is near perfection. There's some arguing it's not as good as the model that came before it, but it was a big price increase. But there is more technology. There's a long waiting list. And the prices of these, I've seen them second-hand. In other words, the dealers have bought them, registered them, and then selling them with a few hundred kilometers on them for going on to $90,000. And it has little thoughtful touches, like I said, the adjustable armrest that will adjust to a certain height, and then you can pull it out and have a full-length armrest. That's all this week from the brilliant Volkswagen Golf R Wagon. I think this is not only incredibly pretty, but very good at what it does, and it joins its stablemates, its very worthy stablemates. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just there to subscribe.